Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video on this Friday afternoon, very ready for the bank holiday weekend. I think Eddie Howe is ready for the bank holiday weekend after he was grilled this morning in his pre-match press conference ahead of the game against Liverpool on Monday night. You wouldn't have thought we had a game against Liverpool on Monday night because everything was about that man, Alexander Isak. And we will talk a little bit about that in this video today, but it's clear that Newcastle are still pushing to bring in that new striker, replacement striker. But with Brentford asking for 60 million for Wizza, Wolves wanting 60 million for Strand Larson, reports coming out today that Newcastle are now targeting a cut price striker from Atletico Madrid. So we will get into all of that in this video. But first, if you are looking at me and thinking, Rob, have you got sunburn or what's going on? It's because I went for a run this morning. And thank you to everyone who has supported me and donated towards my Just Giving page for my Great North Run. If you would like to help support, the link is in the description. It's for the Royal National Institute of the Blind. I had a few people honk their cars at me today, and I had someone say hello, and so great. The support has been amazing. The amount of money we've raised is insane. So thank you very, very much. Still pushing, 2 weeks to go. So still trying my best. But let's get into football. Let's get into Newcastle. And I'm actually going to start off with some fairly fun and positive Newcastle United news. And that is because Newcastle United are at the Baltic. That's right. Today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, there is a special exhibition on for Newcastle's Road to Wembley at the Baltic. I was there. I got a photo with the Carabao Cup. So the Carabao Cup's there all weekend. If you want to get your chance to go and get a picture with it, please do. I met Jonas Gutierrez. He was there as well. I don't think he is part of the exhibition. I think he was just there while I was there. But I thought, you know what? It was something a little bit of fun, something a little bit of different from the Isak stuff. And I have actually posted quite a bit of it over on my Instagram. I didn't want to put too many photos on here because I want people to go and enjoy it themselves. It is Jimmy Terrell who's done all of the exhibition art, which looks fantastic. And then obviously loads of photos from all of the games, Dan Burns, header. Yeah, really enjoyed it. So yeah, you book online. I think they had 20, it is a booking. I think they had 20,000 time slots or tickets over the 4 days. And I think the last time I looked, they'd sold, I think, just over half. So there is still tickets available if you would like to go onto the Baltic website, that is. But as I say, I've got more info stuff on my Instagram if you want to go and take a look. But there you go. That was a little bit of fun to get this video started. Now let's get on to Alexander Isak. So as I say, Eddie Howe did his press conference this morning. Eddie Howe's great, isn't he? Alexander Isak is lucky to have Eddie Howe as a manager. He has continued to, despite what Isak does, like the Instagram posts and everything else, Eddie Howe continues to support him. He actually said in the interview this morning that his job is to support the players, is to protect the players. So despite the fact that Isak doesn't want to go to training, doesn't want to go, Eddie Howe basically said, that he is getting fined. There's reports saying that it's a record fine for any Newcastle footballer ever to get. As I say, I can't wait for Monday night for the announcement to tell us that it was donated to, I don't know, the hospice or whatever, or the cat and dog shelter. Every week there's a new donation from Isak with his fine. But yes, Eddie Howe continues to defend this undefendable man right now. But it got cagey. It got serious and it got cagey. I think up till now, Eddie Howe's been quite careful and been fairly, like the last interview he did, he seemed fairly full of beans, to be honest. I think we were just about to sign Jacob Ramsey. And I will say this as well, I'll throw this in at this part of the video. This is a little bit of positivity for you. We've signed, Ramsdale, I think decent. Malik Chow, centre-back, we've been targeting for ages. We've signed him. Jacob Ramsey, been linked with him for ages. We've signed him. Target is linked to going to Middlesbrough on loan. Vlaco Dimos has left. We've sold Dubravka. Longstaff was getting stick for ages. He's moved on. Like, we've done loads of good things this window, but it's just been so horrifically overshadowed by this Alexander Isak situation. And this is the thing, striker was a key. Even if Isak stayed, striker was like undoubtedly one of our biggest things we had to sort this window, and we haven't done it. So despite us having like arguably a really good window for everything else, without the striker sorted, the rest is just forgettable. So it's so frustrating. You know, if Isak hadn't done this, then I think it would be so positive going in. We've let players go that we didn't want, and we've signed some good players. But instead, it is all about Isak and all about trying to get him out, trying to replace him, just trying to bring in a striker. Because even if if Isak doesn't leave, we need somebody to play up front ASAP. The thing that, and I'm not going to go through the interview, I've mentioned enough of it now, but the one thing that I did want to touch on was this. So Eddie Howe was asked about the statement made by Isak on his Instagram, and he said that he was very disappointed in the statement, and it should have been done face-to-face. So that was the first thing I said. You know, again, in my opinion, I said the Instagram was just, I don't know, it was disappointing. I felt it was like cowardly as well. Like Instagram, really? Is that the way you want to do it on a story? Like put out a formal statement through an interview or something. Like, don't just put an Instagram. It just felt like insincere. I just didn't like it. So neither did Eddie Howe, understandably. He said that it did not reflect well on Alex. It did not reflect well on the club, and that he was sad to have to deal with it. Like, Eddie Howe's out here trying to defend this guy, and he's just getting absolutely slammed. But as I say, it got quite serious in the end, where Eddie Howe was like, look, like, you've asked me the same question 40 times. And I don't blame the journalist for it, because it's worldwide news. This is not just Newcastle news anymore. The whole world wants to know what's going to happen with Isak. So I can see why it's happening. But yeah, as I say, whether he stays or goes, we are 10 days away from an answer. But for me, I'm still desperate. I would much prefer that Isak left and Newcastle were able to bring in one of these strikers. I would go as far to say that if we have the opportunity to do so and bring in two strikers, I would do it and let Isak go. I think we need one at least, because there is no opportunity for us to play anyone at the moment. It's Gordon or Asula, so we need a striker. Reports are coming out to say, you know, after the game against Liverpool on Monday, that Liverpool are going to come back in for a bid of 130 million plus 10. And I know we've said all along, oh, it's 150, it's 150. I'm there now. You know what, like, 130, I think that would suit me. You guys can tell me if you disagree. You know, I appreciate the thought point of, well, we can't reward a player for behaving this way. I totally get that, but I'm just a bit done. This will be it until January, and then the January window comes around, and then we'll talk about it again. So if there's an opportunity to bring one of these strikers in and get him to bog off, I take it. The flip side is he stays, and he's just a mercenary. It's like, right, get him in. As long as he's scoring goals, don't have to like him, don't have to want to like him, don't have to cheer for him. But if he's putting the ball in the net, I'll celebrate with my mates in the stand. Isak can go and do whatever he wants. So we will wait and see. But as I've mentioned already, Newcastle, reports coming out that Newcastle are closing in. Well, if someone tells me there's another 24 or 48 hours to go on the Wizard deal, I might scream. But that is what is being reported today. Wizard, by the way, who is also not painting himself in glory. You know, that man is being very naughty as well. And when Brentford are asking for 60 million for him, I would consider saying walk away from that deal. You know, do we really want somebody else who's behaving in this manner that much? He's a year left on his deal. He's a good player. He wants to come to us. All this noise about him, you know, taking down his old photos of being at Brentford. I mean, that is a new one. Fair enough, take Brentford out of your thumbnail or whatever, or your profile. But to delete all of your old Brentford photos is pretty poor. And now to be talking about 60 million is just otherworldly for that player. And then you've got a very similar situation with Strand Larsen as well. Now, I like him. He's 4 or 5 years younger than Wizza. Big lad, big Norwegian lad, which is a theme because we'll come on to the next guy in a second. But Strand Larsen, I like. The trouble is, once again, with Wolves, like it is with everybody else, what we're going to take Wolves as number one striker away from them 2 weeks into the season where they've got no chance of ever replacing them. If they are going to sell him to us, they are going to extract maximum value. The player, if I'm honest, that I see most likely out of what has been heavily rumoured of, Wizza, Larsen, the one I see more likely than most is Nicholas Jackson. And Jackson, when that name was first mentioned by a lot of people, it was oh my God, please no. And it tells you where we are now, where Nicholas Jackson is oh, well, you know what? Maybe Eddie Howe can make a player out of him. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. In fairness, I've said that from the start. Have I? Well, I think my reaction to Jackson was probably the same as everybody else. He went to Chelsea, hasn't exactly lit the world on fire, but Chelsea have got that many options. I don't think they're not in a situation, well, if they sell Jackson, they've got to go and replace him. They can just let him go out of the club. And what is rumoured at the moment or reported is that Newcastle, Villa and Bayern Munich are all actually in talks with Jackson. Reports are that he will leave Chelsea this summer. The question is where. And in fact, Chelsea are willing to do a loan to buy deal to help teams get around PSR if needed. By teams, I think that's Aston Villa, because we know that Newcastle are reportedly clear of PSR. I mean, it's fair. In fairness, if there's an opportunity for us to go and, spend the 60 million on Strand Larsen, it's like, right, well, I suppose if we've got Jackson, we would sell Isak, so then we wouldn't need the PSR, would we? But reports are that Jackson is in talks with all three clubs and that he will make a move. I mean, it's just setting it up, isn't it, so that he goes to Bayern Munich and meet us and Villa look daft. That wouldn't surprise me either. But if he did go to Villa, I mean, I'll be all over Watkins like a rash, to be honest. He's the one for me. Of all these players that we're getting linked to, that one's gone a little bit quiet, and it's because Villa can't let him go without bringing in a replacement. But the minute, potentially, that Jackson moves to Villa, Watkins could potentially become an option. So we're waiting here on that one. But as I've mentioned, because of these, and even then, even the loan to buy option, it's not going to be if it was a loan with an option to buy, I mean, I'll rip the hands off for that. 5 million for this season. Oh yeah, we'll give you the 55 next year. Don't pay the 55. No, it will be a confirmed amount, and I imagine it will be close to 60 million. So we've got Wizza 60 million, Strand Larsen 60 million, Jackson 60 million, Atletico Madrid striker Sorloth at 30 million. That's right, this is the Atletico Madrid striker who has reportedly in the last week fell out with Diego Simeone and has been rumoured at wanting to get out of Atletico Madrid before the end of the window. This was fairly, there was few whispers that, that's the player that Newcastle should go for. Well, as of this afternoon, Daily Mail and a few other reports coming out to say that it's a player that Newcastle have discussed as a possible option. Mixed reaction from the Newcastle fans. In fairness, he did have a go in the Premier League about 6-7 years ago. He went to Crystal Palace for a year and wasn't very good. I think he played like 3 times and then went on his merry way looking for new football. But as of most recent, had a great season at Villarreal and then had a great season at Atletico Madrid last season. I think in the 35 La Liga appearances he made, he scored 20 goals, which isn't bad going at all. And as I've mentioned already, because he's fell out with Simeone, because he wants to get out of the club, the price tag instead is around 30 million, which at this point in the window, fair enough. He didn't have a great time. I mean, if you look at the rap sheet, he's played for pretty much everyone ever. 29 years old. 6'4", Norwegian, great international record as well. Strand Larsen and Sorloth, get them in, get the two 6'4" Norwegians up front, and get Alanga to start crossing the ball. Because I tell you what, we missed a big lad in the middle the other day against Aston Villa. We could have really done with him. So a little bit of a mixed review on that one. And I see it again. It's another 29-year-old. It's another player, you know, coming into the latter years of their career, shall we say. But at least this way, I think 30 million is a good deal. You get 3 or 4 years out of him, big lad up front. I don't mind it at all. And I appreciate, you know, last time he was in the Prem, he wasn't great. I think he went to Red Bull Leipzig, or he went somewhere, then wasn't great again. And then, so he basically been everywhere a year, struggling. And then went to Villarreal and started turning it on, and then went to Atletico and had a pretty decent season. Let's not forget we had, you know, Joselu, who was in his prime. It was terrible. And then went to Real Madrid in his latter days of his career and went and won the blinking Champions League. So it's possible that players can flourish later in their career with the experience gained. You know, I'm not asking them to, you know, chase every single ball. Do it. Just get him in the middle. That's what we missed. Stand on the penalty spot all game. Don't even bother trying to get back on side. Just stay there, and Alanga will run to the byline and cut it back for you. So yeah, Alexander Sorloth, I don't mind it. You let me know your thoughts on him down below. There's the fact that he didn't do it at Palace. I mean, he was a young kid then. I mean, 6-7 years is a big difference in a career. You let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. On the Wizard, on the Strand Larsen, on the Isak, I want to hear it. If the Sorloth is the kind of guy you would like to see at the club, drop a like. I think for 30 million. Because he's fell out with Simeone, he doesn't want him there. Atletico Madrid presumably aren't bothered. He's fell out with Simeone, so he wants to get out. So there's an opportunity. I think Newcastle should jump all over it. Once again, it's another link with 10 days to go. Are Newcastle going to move fast enough? We will have to wait and see. But as I mentioned already, Newcastle at the Baltic, go and check it out. I enjoyed it. And if you're not going to check it out, go and check out my Instagram instead, because I've posted a whole lot over there. Follow me over on Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys. As I mentioned, I've no doubt I'll be back at some point this weekend, but if I'm not, I will be at the game on Monday night, under the lights. Yeah, without a striker. You know, we've got a good team. And I'll back us to do anything, but without a man in the box to put the ball in the net, it's always going to be a tough one. So we will see. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll catch you later.